Hi, I'm Leon Lovelace, and this is Unstoppable Force. Now, I need your help. I need you to go to my PayPal link. I'll put a link in the description box below, or put it on the screen here. I need you to donate to my PayPal so I can expand this channel. I got another news story for you guys, and this is also from the World Socialist website. It's about the teachers in Nova Scotia are having very similar problems as the teachers in West Virginia. In a transparent capitulation to the provincial Liberal government's reactionary education reform, the Nova Scotia Teachers Union has ruled out calling an illegal strike. The announcement made Thursday by NSTU President Liet Doucet is a betrayal of the province's 9,600 teachers in the fight to defend public education. It comes just over a week after the overwhelming majority of teachers voted by an 82.5% majority to strike, and do so in the face of threats by Stephen McNeil's Liberal government to fine the union up to $10,000 per day and each teacher up to $1,000 per day of job action. In spite of this vote and the strong public support teachers enjoy, Doucet coupled the release of the strike vote results with an announcement that NSTU leadership was suspending any decision on strike action and calling on the government to hold talks. She subsequently met with Education Minister Zach Churchill and Premier McNeil to hammer out a rotten compromise behind the backs of the teachers. I'll skip a paragraph here. The NSTU's miserable climb down has nothing to do with defending the interests of teachers, but with protecting the privileges of the union bureaucracy. So this seems like it's similar to the problems with the West Virginia teachers unions, where those union leaders just have a way too big of a salary. So in effect, they're actually able to profit off of not quite supporting the teachers and fighting for teachers' rights and teachers' pay as they should be doing. Yeah, check it out. One change the Liberals agreed to, which was presented in a corporate-controlled media as a major concession, was to allow administrators, principals, and vice principals to remain affiliated with the NSTU, even though they will become members of a new association. In practice, this means the NSTU bureaucracy will be able to continue to collect upwards of $800,000 in dues per year, helping to pad the salaries of Doucet and her fellow union bureaucrats. Meanwhile, the principals and administrative staff will be transformed into enforcers of government policy. Exposing the reactionary character of the change in their status, approximately 1,000 teachers and senior staff who will be transferred to the new association will not have the right to unionize, take job action, or even file grievances. So that right there is just a horrible concession right there. So I wanted to talk to you guys about this because I want to be a show that's also about some of the international news and talk about other issues that people in Canada and Mexico and all across the world are going through. And a lot of the problems that we're seeing right here in the United States is what other people are going through in different parts of the world. And this right here is just neoliberal bullshit that's going on with the public education in Canada, where they want to make sure they don't pay the teachers and the other staff members that work in the schools a good salary. But the big difference between the Nova Scotia teachers union problem and with the West Virginia is that right out front, the Nova Scotia Liberal government wants to fine the union and the teachers right away if they strike, versus in West Virginia they're not doing that. Again, this isn't an isolated issue because the teachers in Canada have also, especially in Nova Scotia, that had issues with this before, because I'm skip down and it says right here, in 2016 and 2017, teachers voted down 3 concessions-laden tentative agreements that have been recommended by the NSTU leadership. Then, when the Liberals moved to impose a concessionary contract by government decree, the NSTU called a token one-day strike and protest outside the legislature. However, no sooner did the Liberals pass their legislation imposing a 4-year contract and a blanket ban on job action for its duration, the then the union meekly submitted. It was this systematic demobilization of the teachers that emboldened the government to press ahead with its education reform. Because it says right here, a little farther down, that then in 2012, the Ontario Liberal government imposed back to work legislation on striking teachers in 2012, so they could get a concessions contract. And in British Columbia in 2014, the Liberal government shut down a teacher strike over growing class sizes and lack of public funding. It says right here, Liberal, Conservative, and New Democratic Party governments alike have slashed government funding for education across the country over the past 3 decades. So it just seems like the neoliberal government in Canada has also been strong and in full force, making sure they just harm the teachers and then just the general educational system. So of course, I'm sure all the poorer students in Canada are, of course, getting quite a bit less of a quality education than the wealthy students that live in Canada. And that doesn't help the people of Canada either. So a lot of the teachers and the workers of our friends up north, they need to start fighting so they could get all those educational funding increased and start paying the teachers well. Because that's just going to benefit everybody in that nation, and it's also going to help people in other nations too.